Hey YouTube, welcome to MK3 Supra. Today, what we're going to work on is swapping out radio, the head unit specifically. I'm not going to be doing like an amplifier or speakers or anything right now. I might, some point down the road, but for right now, it's just going to be the radio. And yeah, this is not going to be super specific for my Supra. In fact, you could probably find somebody with my Supra who's done this too. So in fact, you might be able to find better guides for how to swap out a radio, but this one's gonna be mine. All right, so this is my current radio. It's one of those that Pioneer head units that were pretty popular in the 2000s. I actually remember when I was at my senior year of college, I bought this total beater. I mean, if any of you guys look at this car and think it's a beater, that car was a beater. And yeah, it actually had one of these head units in it, very similar at least. And this one works. In fact, as I think about it, I should do this right now. Yeah, it does work. And yeah, I'd say it works perfectly fine. There we go. It did come when I bought the car. Best part about it, came with some Michael Jackson. Essentials of Michael Jackson. That was one of the things that made the purchase of this car extra worth it, right? Anyways, yeah, like I said, it does work well. The only thing is, at this point in history, we're pretty GPS dependent people, and that includes me. And I would say I'm a little less GPS dependent than a lot of people. But I am still pretty GPS dependent, and especially living in the New York City area. Okay. Some of you may go, hey, aren't you in a suburb, Long Island? And yes, you are right, I am in a suburb, but it is not very easy to get around this particular this area sometimes because of traffic and even just general directions. And so so this new one has built-in GPS. I've tried a few different phone mounts in this car, and they just don't really seem to work. They either fall off or they drop my phone, or so here's the solution. Let's just get a head unit that can support GPS, and we'll be off to the races. All right, so let's talk through wiring. If you've seen some of my other videos, you might know that I like to draw out my wiring plans before I tear into stuff so that I can know what's going on. I need to have a plan of attack, even if I end up having to change the plan of attack at some point. So, here's my wiring harness, okay? And here's the circuit for my radio. On top of this radio, it has what all the wires for the harness are, what they go to. On my radio, there are 3 harnesses, okay? This one is power and audio, is what it's called. I found a diagram that showed this. This one is aux and front camera, and this one is parking. So these are just the labels for the harnesses. This does not actually tell you what is on the harnesses. For example, this one is aux and front camera. However, it does also have some stuff for, the rear camera. That's front. Yeah, right there, rear camera. So it's not just, it doesn't necessarily just go with the label that Boss gave to the harness. That's okay. So, the way I'm doing this, I'm just looking at, this radio. This is for the connector to the radio, okay? Well, I guess it's the radio itself. And kind of identifying which wire am I wanting. And then it's got the color that goes with it on the schematic. So start out, I've got 8 wires that are just for the speakers. Now, my guess is that if anything has been changed, those have been changed. Okay. A lot of the times when you get when people put aftermarket radios in, they switch the connectors to this style. Okay, from the OEM, they're gonna usually have like a harness like these, but usually they'll switch them to this style. It's like RCA type plugs. So I'm guessing that that's probably what's going to be behind it, but we'll see. If not, I know which wires go with which for the harness, so that'll be helpful. For power, you need one that's for the AC or the accessory line, and one that goes straight to battery. Okay, so got those labeled properly. All right, and then I've also got the ground right here, the black one for ground. All right, I'll go into the other 2 wires that go with the power and audio harness in a sec. But first I'm going to jump to these other 2 harnesses. Each of these harnesses, the parking has 2 wires, and this one has like probably 8 or something. I'm using one for each of them. Okay. The parking one is basically to tell the radio that you have parked and the car is not going, at least not supposed to move, and it will then allow you to like watch videos on it. Not something I necessarily plan to do with the radio, if I'm honest, but it's really not that hard to do, to run a wire over to the parking brake switch. Okay, the parking brake switch is just on the handbrake, and the handbrake is about 1.5 feet maybe from where the radio is, so I might run it to that just for the sake of having that work the way it's supposed to. Excuse me. The other part is the switches for when you put the car in reverse to turn the camera on for it. Okay. Now, the first part of what you need is basically something to sense or tell the radio, hey, it's in reverse. And for that, I've got this violet and white wire that is going to go to the backup light switch. Okay, so this will go to the switch that turns on when you switch to reverse and then turns the backup lights on. Okay. Yeah, I'll need to figure out where exactly that is because I'm not sure yet. And then for the backup camera, this wire coming from the aux in front camera harness, as I showed you, there's a wire for the rear camera, and that is this one, and it just powers the rear camera. Okay, it's nice and simple. Now, this last one is a tricky one, and I'll admit it's one that is somewhat unnecessary, but I'm gonna at least see if I can get it to do it. There's a wire that it's the illumination wire, and what it does is it detects that it's night out and switches the mode for the radio to like dark mode, or a mode that works better for the light contrast at night. This one's a little tricky. I'm not 100% sure yet how this one's going to go, but here is what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm gonna show you the schematic for the taillights. So, worst case, I think I could simply hook it up to this area right here after the taillight relay. Okay. Now, to be clear, it's not going to take much power, so I'm not really worried about blowing the fuse. But yeah, basically I could just hook it up to there, and then when the taillight relay turns on, there'll be electricity flowing to the taillights, and I'll just have a wire here, and it'll flow through that wire, and it'll tell the radio that the taillights are on. Well, it'll tell that I've turned the lights on. Okay. Now, to be clear, this is the illumination taillights. This is not the reverse taillights. Okay. It's also not the brake lights. Okay. There's certain ones you absolutely have to make sure that you avoid in order to make this work. If you go to the wrong wire, it's not going to work. Or it's going to work in really weird ways. Like if you wire it to the brake light, every time you hit the brake, the mode is going to change, and we don't want that. We want it to only change when I turn the lights on. Okay. Because if I turn the lights on, that means it's night, and I want a different contrast. Now, this is a potential option. The other thing is I found this right here. So this tail light relay goes to the fuse, and then it goes to this junction box. Be real with you, I don't know where this junction box is. I've searched the manual. I cannot find this junction box anywhere. But this junction box appears to just be giving power from the taillights. Okay. Now, most of these, or several of these, they run through this rheostat, which is basically just a control for brightness. Okay. And yeah, there is a little, brightness controller, like little thing. And yeah, it makes, the combination meter dimmer or darker, or dimmer or brighter, as well as, a couple other things. And we really don't want to be going through the rheostat. Okay. But conveniently, at the end of this, there's this. This is a radio. I don't exactly know what this is doing. Maybe the radio initially came with a plug to tell it that it was night, and it would adjust the brightness of the radio. I don't know. We'll have to see what that is when we take the radio out. Even see if the wire is there. But that might be a hack. That might be the option I have. We'll see. Yeah. So, anyways, that is what we are going to try with this. All right. So first thing is taking this piece right here off. All right. So first thing is going to be taking this piece right here off. I know that there's 2 screws behind this thing. Hold that in there after that. Doesn't seem like it. There's supposed to be some screws. There's some screws right there. I'm not really holding it in, but let's remove them. I might be able to put them back and hold it a little better. Come out. Got it. Oh, I see. This is actually holding this to the little shelf thing in here. I'm having trouble finding the screen now. Okay, so it seems like this bottom part just kind of came out, which is good because I do want to remove it. Okay, I'm not gonna take this whole thing out because I don't want to mess with some of the plugs. But here's the radio. Okay. Okay. So I stand corrected. I did not use the RCA jacks. That's okay. Here's the harness, and here is the antenna, and it looks like all that's plugged into it right now. So it's good. The radio itself. Okay. I'm just gonna have to kind of work around this thing right now. At least for now I am. I don't know. Maybe we'll change some things. Okay. So here are the OEM plugs for the radio, I'm guessing. I think these are OEM. I could be wrong, but alright. Let's see. Okay. Well, there has been some luck here. If you look, these are just twisted together. I may have shown it in a video before, but it really is not a good idea to just twist your wires together in a car. The vibration can cause them to come undone. And it is definitely not a good idea to have them bare wire like this. I mean, you have got to cover that up with something. Okay, like, jeez, that's kind of ridiculous. Clearly they did not cover them up with tape, because then we would have tape. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I guess they taped the ones that were, you know, could have been fire hazards. I'm guessing this is the battery, but jeez, what a mess. All right, well, I'm gonna go get my diagram, and we're gonna identify these wires before we start cutting stuff, and then I'm also going to get the harness for the radio. All right, so now looking at the schematic, I can identify which wire is which. Okay, so this red one goes in right here, and it connects to this gray wire right here. Okay, and that's important because the gray wire on this this is the accessory wire. Okay, so I need to hook the accessory wire, which is red on the radio, as well as that harness, to the red. Okay, kind of same with this yellow. Okay, some of these happen to be the same. Now, the one I was kind of wondering about, so this orange wire is the same wire as on the radio as well. Okay, and it connects to this green wire. See if I can get it focus. Green wire. Okay, and that is good because the orange wire here needed to connect to the green wire for the taillight relay. Okay, now I could do a quick test real quick with my multimeter, and I'll show you how to do that to verify that that is working the way it's supposed to. Now, if you want to really test them out, okay, so be careful with the yellow wire. Yellow wire is hot, okay? You don't know what it could end up doing if you end up shorting it to something, especially like the black. But let's see if I can. Maybe not. Well, I mean, I could probably hook it up to the 12 volt and see what it does. But, you know, in theory, I could actually like test these a little bit, like put a little load on them, see like if the speakers crack or something. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to, you know, I don't know how much current could go through that. And I mean, at the very least, I don't really want to blow like a fuse or something. So, so I'm not going to do that test. But, yeah. I'm going to do a real quick test, though, on that orange wire, see if it gets hot when I turn the lights on. Okay. All right. So, let me show you how to test this thing. All right. So, so first off, let me show you. So this yellow wire goes straight to the battery. Be really careful not to touch this wire to the black wire, otherwise you're going to pop a fuse. Shouldn't burn anything down, but you'll definitely blow the fuse. So I don't know if you can read that or not, but that says 12 volts. Okay, black to yellow. Okay, now this red wire goes to the accessory spot on the ignition. So touching that to it, it is 0. Okay, or 0 enough at least. Okay, now touching it to this orange wire, okay, it is also 0. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights on. To go ahead and flip them all the way up, but in theory it shouldn't have to be flipped all the way up to turn on. But I decided to flip it all the way up anyways. And it is 12 volts. Okay. So that is working the way it's supposed to. Just for good measure, why not? Let's see, I'll flip it down 1. So this shouldn't turn the headlights on. And it is still 12 volt. Let's see about the next one. And it's now off. Okay, so on the light switch, the first 2 off and 1 up from off are not on. Next one up from off is on, and then the third one is on as well. Or the last one is on as well. All right, so then, as I said, this one should be the accessory. I'm actually not going to test it because I don't actually have my keys on me right now. I just got back from a trip. Shout out the person I know who's watching this, who I saw on that trip. Yeah, my wife put my keys somewhere, and I'm not really sure where. So I'm not going to test that right now. But I have a good bit of faith that that does, in fact, work the way it is supposed to work. Yeah, so I'm not super worried about it. And I don't think anyone else needs to be either. So, let me see. The only other thing, all right, I believe this wire here, this red and black wire, well, no, it wouldn't make sense for that to be the reverse, because there would be no reason for that wire to be there. So I'm gonna have to figure out what this wire is supposed to be, or honestly what this harness is supposed to be. Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. And well, yeah, this one must be for the rear speakers. The only problem is it does not fit with what these are. So yeah, we'll have to figure that, or what the diagram says. So we'll have to figure that out. The other one is if there's one for the parking brake switch. That one looks like it's supposed to be black. I don't see a black wire. But again, I would not expect there to be that wire, because Toyota would have no reason to, want to make sure you've engaged the parking brake, and they would also have no reason to want your radio to know when you've put the car in reverse. So, yeah. So I've looked at these. I don't really see those, but it wouldn't make sense for those to be on there anyways. So, so yeah, I think we're good for the most part. I did end up touching I'm not gonna do it again because I don't want to burn out the motor, but I did end up touching the yellow wire to the blue wire by mistake, and it caused the antenna to go up. So that's the thing. So yeah, the antenna has, so that one works. All right, so I ended up taking the front fascia off. It wasn't so bad. We just had to unplug these guys and this, which is for the cigarette lighter. So now some observations. Somebody seems to have been nice enough to break this, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not very noticeable, and yeah, certainly won't affect the drivability of the car, right? But yeah, honestly, they probably broke it trying to take this thing out. So now for the parking sensor, I feel a wire right here, and I can kind of see one, but there's no way that I'm going to be able to tap into that with this on here. So I'm going to take it out. Just all I'm going to have to do is remove this screw here and then the two screws back here. Okay, so that won't be so bad. And while I've got that out, I am going to look at where I could put my USB port. And here are my two options for USB port. Now, because this is Android, this radio has wireless Android Auto. The USB port will primarily be used for charging. Okay, so I got this round one that is an option, and then I've got this rectangular one. Now I thought about putting it in where that cigarette lighter is. The only issue with that is that's pretty high up. I would be kind of stuck with a wire always coming from like right here down, and if I'm putting the phone right here, that's even like getting in the way of the shifter. So I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm going to want to install it somewhere on this. Now the question is where, and yeah, I have not really fully thought about that yet. One option could be inside of here, like right here. Well, it looks like there's just gonna be some screws I need to take out inside this too to pull this out. Anyways, yeah, I could put it right in here. Yeah, in theory, if I can put it right there, I could also put it right here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I do want to delete this thing at some point because I'm not using Thames. This is the control for the electronically modulated suspension. And yeah, the shocks that are on there are not Thames shocks, so it's not doing anything no matter what. Which actually, as I look at that, let's see. Well, if you look at that, that is almost the perfect size for that. Maybe slightly larger, or like maybe a little too big of a hole, but I mean, I could probably work with that. So yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll remove this, or remove the switches behind this, and then put this in there. I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm not against cutting something for the USB port. Yeah, I would like to have this at some point look somewhat clean. So I don't know if that means maybe I get a splitter and run two. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to see what we can do here. Yeah. I should also look at prices of these because this one's not in terrible shape. The paint is coming off and it no longer has the writing, at least not clearly. But yeah, if this is something that's valuable, then I'll probably go ahead and sell it. But I don't know that it is. A lot of people are move away from their Thames suspension pretty quick. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll take this thing out and we'll decide then. This thing is kind of terrible. We need to figure out if there's a way I can fix something that'll make it so it doesn't just keep popping open like that. Because yeah, it's supposed to just be push. Yeah, even the push to open doesn't work. Well, whatever. We'll figure. So I have now soldered these two harnesses together. So to be clear, this black one came with the radio. It plugs into the radio. And then these two white harnesses, or these two white plug harnesses, they were in my car. I don't know if they came with the aftermarket radio or something else. But yeah, the color scheme is the same for both of them, so it's not too bad. And then here is the parking wire harness. Just needs a single little wire on it. So yeah. And just so that you guys can see, I soldered a green wire here. This is for the reverse lights. I have a plan on how I'm going to do this. I'm going to hook it into the reverse sensor. And then this is for the parking brake sensor. All right, so now let's remove this little box. Looks like it just has 4 screws that are used to take it out. Trying to be careful not to drop them. This will definitely be a bit of a pain to get out if I do. By the way, it looks like somebody used some epoxy right here to hold this climate controller in. So I removed the Thames controller. Okay. I think I am gonna just take this thing apart. I looked them up, they're like 50 bucks online. I don't really see myself using this ever. Yeah, the like Thames shocks, like the OEM ones, are like 500 bucks for two. Like it probably cost me close to $700 to get all four. If I was able to get them all from one person, you know. And I've got some other shocks I want to put on there anyways, which are not Thames. And so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and basically take this apart and remove the guts of it, and then put the USB ports in. Okay. So now, all right. So this green wire needs to go to the reverse sensor. Okay. Now the reverse sensor, based off of the picture of the transmission, is in fact on the side of the transmission. And maybe I could get lucky and find a random wire that's running in here, but I don't know if I will. So what I've decided to do instead is I'm actually running this wire right down in there, and I'll get under the car and hook it up, see if I can hook it up to the sensor. All right, and here's the connection to the rear light sensor. Okay. The actual sensor, let's see if I can find it here for you. Well, okay, it's over on this side. I can't tell if I'm finding it or not, but the actual sensor is over here on this side. Actually, this wire you see, this white wire, that goes to the sensor. So it's, yeah, I think you actually see it right now. And then the wire goes over the transmission and comes out right there. Okay, so this is right there on this side, that white wire. Okay. Now I would recommend that, I mean, you could splice this into the white wire if you want, and that'd be fine. I would recommend you do the red wire here, because if you need to replace the sensor, then you don't have to mess with your splice. Okay, it'll stay with the harness, and that'll be okay. Also, make sure that your wire, your green wire, or the wire from the radio, is not going to get in the way of anything. Okay. Initially, I actually came down over here on this side, and when I did that, and so if I would have just come over, then I would run the risk of the wire getting tangled up in the drive shaft right here, and you really don't want that. So yeah, make sure the wire stays on top of the transmission. Ideally, also make sure it's not like wrapped around the shift lever or anything like that. If it is, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but actually it's really not that hard to fix it from the top. So I would just do it right, so you don't have to worry about any issues. So, but yeah, just kind of make sure it's nicely tucked in there. Like it, it seemed like the wire itself likes hanging out right here behind the slave cylinder. So, yeah, just kind of, tuck it in there, and you shouldn't have any issues. All right, so here is the Thames control module. Yeah, we'll see if we can't take this thing apart. I think it's going to come apart pretty easily. I see some tabs here. So let me get a screwdriver here. Just a little flathead. push that in. There we go. Perfect. That's better. And there you go. Nice and easy. Alright, and then this guy, let's see. Now that is a perfect fit, I would say. Should rub that Thames thing off a little more. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cool. All right, so now I'm gonna place this backup camera, run the wires for it. So what I'm thinking is maybe mounting it right here, and then run the wires through. See if I run them through this thing, and then after I run them through that, I'll run them all the way through this trim, basically up to the front of the car. So some of that might be a little easier said than done, but I know somebody has done it because there's some wires underneath the trim next to the driver's door, so definitely possible. All right, so you know what? There is already a hole there because this light, the little plastic piece broke. Now it holds in there well enough, but I might just go ahead and take advantage of that and run my wire through that. And then it should be obvious, but I didn't do it. Gotta take your license plate off. All right, so I'm going to be running the wire through the shell of the car. And so to do that, I'm gonna drill a hole and I'm gonna put one of these grommets in there. This is a 3/4 inch grommet. So I have my stepper drill bit and I got my hole punch. I think I'm going to aim to maybe put the wire, have the hole right here. Seems pretty safe as far as not hitting anything else. Yeah, so I'm able to kind of tell like where this is on the inside based off some indents and things like that. And so I think if I put it like right here, that should be pretty safe. Shouldn't have too much issue there. Start with hole punch. Okay. I'm gonna mount the camera kind of like that. Okay. Just with screws here and here. And I'll need to tighten it up so it'll hopefully kind of sit like that. And then I'll run the wire through that hole right there. The big hole is going to be covered up by the license plate. I could run it through that. I'd probably be able to get away with that, but I'm going to use the other one. It's a little more. All right. So I've got the camera mounted in there now. Right there. I don't love the straightness of it. It is crooked, but yeah, maybe I'll be able to fix that when I yeah, maybe I'll be able to fix that later. For now, it's fine. Yeah, we'll see how obvious it looks when it turns on. It'll probably be really obvious, but yeah, I think for now it's probably, yeah, for now it'll be okay. It'll definitely show me what's behind the car, and that's what's most important, right? All right, so now I have routed the wire through this hole with the light, and so now I need to drill the hole to run the wire through, put the grommet in, and based off of where the indentations are on the outside of the shell, I think I can reasonably well guess where I want to drill it. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of put it a little bit behind the where the holes for the plate, and yeah, kind of just go from there, so to speak. And that should work pretty well. So I'm aim for right around there. Yep. Okay. Actually, well, actually, I might bring it over a little bit. All right. All right, so all right. So I'm gonna put it right around here. So right around here. Okay. So it's gonna be solidly behind where the plate sits. And I'm doing that first because it is a good length for where I want this to land. Yeah, this should land where I want it to land. The other reason is it's going to be, well, actually, do I want it further that way? Okay, so I have kind of just moved this down and out of the way a little bit so I can get to here. I'm gonna put the hole right here below this one, because I think that should put it in a good spot where it's nice and out of the way, and I have room to drill as well. So put it right about here. All right. So now, just be able to put this grommet in there. It'll fit nicely. Tight. All right, now I got the grommet in. Let me show it to you. Right there. Oop. Yeah, right there. So now I just need to cut it with a knife. That should work. And now work my wires through it. This is a 5/8 grommet. I'm not 100% sure it's really big enough. All right, got one through. Okay. All right, I got both through. All right. Yeah, it's a tight fit. Let me show you. Yeah, here's how it's fitting right here. Yeah, it was kind of a tight fit to get this. This was the one I put in second, but it worked. I would probably do like a 3/4 inch if I were to do this again, but the 5/8 worked. All right, so now I just have to put the back of the car back on. Be sure to shove the grommets back in, or whatever grommets you pulled out back in, and yeah, just button it all back up the way it came out. All right, so put everything back. Do not forget to put the plate back, otherwise you'll have a bad day next time you drive it. Also, the wire, I ended up just having my wire go behind the plate, and I think it's okay. The plate's not on there like that flat against the thing. Yeah, I would understand those who it would bother, and I think you'd probably just want to make sure the wire does not come in front of the plate, because then you'll probably get a ticket. So if you're like, hey, I'm gonna not run it behind the plate, just like tape it up here with like some Scotch tape or something. All right, so I now have the power wire for the camera, and it is soldered to this spool. This is quite a bit thicker gauge than the power, but that's okay, not a big deal. And then we've got the signal wire for the camera, and so we'll run both of those from where the radio is all the way to the trunk. All right, so now we're gonna have to remove some trim. All right, so we've run our wires through the hole where the radio is. It's pretty straightforward. I'll pin them up here, but I'm not gonna worry about that yet. Let's remove this piece here. For you guys, it's probably all held in with these screws. Mine has a few of these in it that are also holding it in, because mine's a little broken, that's all. Now here's what that looks like when you remove that piece of plastic. And so now I'm gonna run the wires up into here, and then pull them out here, and then run them along this. Now I actually have a couple wires even chilling in this. You can't really see them there, but you can see this little red wire here. Yeah, I don't know if that's OEM or not. I thought it was probably not. But yeah, I'll probably, there you have it on the other side. But yeah, I'll probably use that, kind of just run it through the carpet there so I don't have an issue. All right, so now I'm going to remove this side trim. These are held in with screws. Some of the screws that are missing, but yeah. And we'll see how far in we can get. Yeah. All right, so I removed, I got the wire through, and I will be upfront with you, I got lucky. I had to remove this large piece of trim that did not come out particularly easily. It came out from a screw here and there's supposed to be a screw here, but mine was missing. Maybe another one over here, and then there were a couple screws right here, okay, that I had to put the seat down to get to. Yeah, just the shape of it doesn't like to come out, so I kind of had to wrestle it out, but eventually I won the wrestling match, I guess. And then what I did was I used this thing and went up, excuse me, and I went up through here. I basically pushed it through, and I got lucky, and it came right out, and then I tied a piece of string to it, pulled the string through, then tied the string to the wires, and pulled the wires through. So that's how I did that. All right, so now I'm going to start working on the mounting of the radio. To do that, I bought this MK3 double DIN installation kit. It was like 20 bucks. And it comes with a bunch of like these things. Yeah, and so now the nice thing, MK3 has directions, and they're actually specific for my year Supra. And so yeah, if you're getting one of these, it has it like this is for a lot of different cars. Looks like they're all Toyotas. This particular kit is, at least. But yeah, it has like the specific instructions of like which like plastic brackets you need, and then which tabs you need to break off of the brackets. So and so for mine, looks like I need to let me see, bracket number 2, all tabs except A and B. So so this is bracket number 2, and I need to keep this tab up here at the top, and this tab, not the bottom tab, but the second from the bottom. Okay, so I'll go ahead and break those off real quick, and we'll see how well it fits on the radio as well as the in the car. So after test fitting, what I found, all right, so I didn't get this one broken off flush on either of them. That's okay. What isn't okay is this thing sticks out a lot. And so we're gonna need to just cut it right like there, okay? Basically so that this is the bottom part of the bracket. All right, so I removed the tabs, okay? That came out pretty good. But this one sticks out some, but it's okay, it's not a big deal. However, putting it in, it's still not fitting, and that is because of this like piece of plastic right here. You slide it in, and it runs into the side bezel. Now, if you look at this one, this is the one that was in the radio before. This is not a stock part. That radio that was in it was aftermarket. But if you look at this one, you can see right here, it appears that somebody cut this off. So it must have been an issue with, I'm guessing this is from a universal mounting kit. And it must have been an issue for that because somebody had to cut it off there. And so really I'm just going to do the same thing there. I'm going to cut it right here. Alright, so that fit pretty good. So now let's just put these on. These are labeled right and left, 2L2R. So put them on correctly. Just kind of find a way that the holes line up. This may end up requiring a couple test fits. Like you might need to put them in and then you might need to put it on and then put the radio in the car, see where it sits, and then adjust as needed. So yeah, they want you to just use the screws that came with it. Mine, they're not really lining up quite perfectly as they seem like, but I think that's okay. Yeah, we'll just kind of do our best, and I might need to get more screws even, because I don't think I have enough screws, or as many screws as I have holes for it, but... All right, so you guys saw me struggle that one in. Yeah, it did not want to go in, and most of that was because it was not the right shape. I should have probably, like, modified this a little bit in order to get it to go in better, but I didn't. Looking at it, this guy fits really good. I mean, it looks perfect. This one, maybe not so much. I thought about like cutting this lip off, but it's like this lip is actually not what's stopping it from going down. I would have to cut the lip off and then do some more cutting probably on this piece, which would be fine, but yeah. But yeah, here we go. This is the USB module. I've also got a little aux port so that nobody has aux cables on their phones anymore, but if somebody does, they can use that and plug it into my radio. So this cost like I think 30 cents more than this one. They were basically the same price, so worthwhile price upgrade. And it doesn't look that bad. So I'll see if I can get, you might not be able to tell, but the Thames logo is still right here. I might see if I can get rid of that, but yeah, I'll go ahead and put it in. All right, so now we'll just feed these in. Like that. All right. Well, I'm not sure what. Thought maybe there'd be like a snap or something, satisfying click. I need to go all the way. Alright, so I just noticed that there is a tab that broke off on this side. So that's why it's not staying in. As I come to think of it, I think I remember like finding a tab and wondering what it was from. And that would make sense. So I'm just gonna kind of get it in there as well as I can. Backwards, it might be backwards. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of push it in like that, and then I'll figure out a way to kind of mount that in there better later. But for now, that's what I'm gonna do with it. All right, so now I got this over here. I'm going to strip it, and the ground I'm just gonna tie in with this ground here. On this harness right here, and then the power is gonna attach to the power coming up, or the line that is for the rear camera power on the radio harness. All right, so I now have it hooked up. The wire right here says rear camera power, okay? It has to be rear camera power, nothing else, all right? So make sure it's hooked up to rear camera power. And then I got, my solder connector right here, and then I've got the heat shrink tube down here too, because I find it helpful to insulate this afterwards, so. And I find it's helpful just leave it sit for a minute so that it can harden before I do anything else. You just spray it on you just shoot the heat on this until you see it start to melt, and then you can take it off. And then yeah, just let it sit for 30 seconds or so. That's probably good. If you want, you can give it a couple of pulls. All right. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It'll do. This is only a radio. And I'm gonna go ahead. There you go. Alright, now flip around. Try to get it in this right one, so it's a lot nicer on the wire here than the right side. So this connector is going to go a lot nicer on the wire here than the bigger side is. So see if we can get on there. Looks pretty good. Okay. That's good. Okay, so. Alright, so now I got this in here. It's not perfect. I see if I can add a little off here, but I'm just going to put it here. So there you go. By the way, you can screw something in. But this cable should cover them. Get through. Here we go. There you go. Alright, so just plug the aux cord in. Very nice. I'm trying to position everything so it's hopefully out of the way. But I need to make sure I have the connectors where they need to be. To enable me to plug in both USBs. I've got this little splitter here. I'm going to plug him in. There's a lot of wires here, so I wouldn't blame you if you were like, I don't like, messing with this many wires. It doesn't need to have every single feature. I wouldn't blame you. For me, I decided to make them all work. And then the last thing, I did some testing and found that it sounded noticeably better with a mic. And so I'm going to install this mic. Yeah, I'm gonna aim for mounting it like right in here. Make sure it's pointed at me. Now it's a little rough, but we're gonna just try it out and see how it does. Yeah, this is textured, part of the dash. But yeah, we'll just kind of see how it does. There's no guarantee I won't end up removing the dash at some point anyways, but yeah, it's okay. But to route it for the wire, let's see. Alright, now I'll just peel this guy off. Let me show you a picture. So I put it right here, and I told you it's a little textured, and the tape already fell off, so I need to retape it. All right, I got the mic in there nicely now. It's being held in with double-sided tape still. If it falls down, or if I have issues with it, I'll just drill a hole in it and put a screw there, and then it'll never go anywhere for sure. All right, so now it's time to put the radio in. Just gonna kind of take it slow, just, you know, bit by bit, and you know, try and not forget to plug anything in. Everything's plugged in, I believe. The one piece I'm not using on this is the antenna, and that's because we're using a phone. And I don't know, the antenna didn't really seem necessary. Maybe I'll eat crow at some point and wish I had the antenna, but yeah, if that's the case, then I'll figure that out. But yeah, let's see if we can't force this thing into its little spot now. mind there's a bunch of wires back there. That was terrible. So now, doesn't matter. Make sure you plug it in. Alright, so let's turn it back on. Start shift lever. Alright, I think everything. I'll just show you, but it's pretty straightforward, so not that about it. Okay. First, try everything out. That's sweet. Alright. These screws back. Try. That's switching first until I can see the hole there. Okay, it's not gonna fit in. It's at least doing something, I think. There we go. Alright, aluminum is. No, it's not. No, there's that. There's screw. There's a little over there. There we go. I just want to point out the issue I was having was this little guy right here came off. This is what the screw kind of attaches to. So if that's not on there, then the screw won't attach. So I just want to point out, you know, this is now nicely in there. Everything's more or less flush. It's not coming off a ton, like, you know, there's flex, but it's not coming out. So that's how you know you did it right. And then this guy can go in, and you know, you can pull it out and not pull the entire dash off, you know. So all right, so last things I didn't really show because they're really simple. Putting the shift knob back on, throwing this back in there. The kit, the bezels that came with the kit did not fit in here, so I'm not exactly sure what to do with that. Yeah, I don't think it was because of the radio. I think it was because of the shape of this. So I might see if I can find a different bezel to throw in here, but it's okay. Looks a little jank because of that, but it's not the end of the world. Now let's turn it on to see if verify it works. And we got power. Make sure the turn signals work. Yep. Now let's turn on. Make sure my antenna is working. Connected to my phone. Well, antenna doesn't seem like it's working very well. Could be an issue with the antenna itself. Okay. I am. There you go. It's working. I am in the garage, so the AM tuner may not be working simply because of that. So my antenna is not going up and down though, but I think that was an issue before I did this. So I think I need to just get a new antenna. It's already a new antenna, but the one I got sucks. So you might have noticed that I hadn't tested the reverse yet, the camera, and that is because, as you can see, my backup lights are still on. Why is that significant? Because the transmission is currently in neutral. It's not in reverse. Now I've put it in neutral. It's brighter, but it seems that my backup switch is they say bleeding by. Is the term I've heard most of the time. So I actually, when I first tested the reverse, I couldn't get it to come off of reverse. And so I'm going to go ahead and replace that backup light switch now. Alright, so just to review, that right there is the sensor, okay, with the wires coming out of it. This is on the passenger side of the car. I do anticipate this exhaust to make it a bit of a pain to pull it off, but we'll figure it out. And then there's the connector right there. That's that white guy. So that shouldn't be too terribly bad. Just worst part actually is probably just gonna be running the wire over it when I have the new one on. I'm not gonna be able to show you guys me actually doing it because this is just too tight a space. So see you on the other side. All right, I'm done. The worst part about that was definitely running the wire over the transmission. That was a bit of a pain. And part of why that's a pain might be something that you guys noticed when you look at this. If you need to flip back to when I showed it to you earlier, you should do that. This wire is quite a bit longer than the wire that the new one had. In fact, it appears that somebody spliced this wire together. Now let's take this apart. Somebody who owned the car, at least worked on the car before me, really seemed to enjoy their electrical tape for holding wires together. All right, I'm gonna put the phone down and unwrap this the rest of the way, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, so you see this right here? I did not unwrap that. This is why electrical tape is not really a great insulator. It works fine, but you should not necessarily leave it long term. Especially not if you're just wrapping bare wires. Alright, so let me show this to you guys. Basically, I peeled the electrical tape off, and these wires are basically just twisted together. There's no solder. Yeah, it's really just friction that's holding these together. Now, this isn't a high stress location, okay? But I would still say that this is a very poor job and should not have been done. It's one thing when it's the radio, like what we saw earlier. You know, honestly, that I can get past. But this is your backup light, and that's technically a safety feature on the car. And it's also external. Like it sits. It's not inside of the cabin of the car. Okay. And so this is going to get subjected to elements from the road. You know, stuff's going to get kicked up and fall on it and, you know, even cut it up. And this is not the way to do it. So, yeah, I mean, this is an old car. That's what happens when you have an old car. Somebody's worked on it who hasn't done a good job. But, so it is somewhat expected. But this is a PSA for all of you. The other thing with this is there's no crush washer on here. And this was not particularly tight on there. So now it is tight on there. I haven't changed. I need to change the transmission fluid on the car. And, you know, I might see that it's a little low. These also aren't like super low on the transmission, so I'm not that worried about it. Like if I lost some, I probably didn't lose much. But yeah, somebody has done some work on this, and they did not do a good job. The other part, I'm trying to zoom in here. The other element of this is right here. So this is the wire that goes to the backup light sensor, and as you can see, it's twisted together right there. That's not the way to do that. And they didn't even insulate it. They didn't even put like electrical tape on it. So yeah, this is very badly done. Yeah, I'm pretty appalled at this one. Yeah, again, I don't know if it was an owner. Like the previous owner didn't seem like he drove this car that much and didn't really do much with it. He had a couple others like Mark III Supras, and this car actually hadn't been registered in like several years. And so I don't think it was the guy I bought it from, and more than likely he wasn't even aware of it. But yeah, still, like, it doesn't, I mean, some mechanic, I'm guessing, is probably the one who did that, and come on, like, give me a break. All right, so I'm gonna test this real quick. Now what I would expect is that when it is not plugged, the button on this is not pushed, that this should show some resistance. So it's not gonna be a complete short, but it should show some resistance. As you can see, it's showing open right now, which is already telling me that the problem was not actually the sensor, it was probably this wiring, this botched wiring that somebody did. Now just to test it, when I push it in, I should get continuity. So let's see. Okay, I'm getting some, not necessarily as much as I would think. It's showing 135 kilo ohms. I would think it would be like a short. The other one was a short, by the way. So yeah, it's kind of inconsistent. So it was good that I replaced it. However, the issue that I was having, this is not showing that issue. Okay, if the lights are on when it's not in reverse, then then this would have a number here for resistance, because it's, as I said, it's bleeding by. That is not the case. So I'm guessing that what was probably happening was probably these wires, and maybe those other wires in there, because I believe I only showed you the yellow one, but I believe the red one is the same. Those wires were probably kind of getting close to each other and starting to show some continuity, like this is right here. So yeah, so at the end of the day, good that I replaced it. Okay, now we're down to 5 kilo ohms. Good that I replaced it, because it does seem like it's having an issue with shorting enough. But also the actual problem here was a wiring thing that was botched by someone else fixing it. So there you go, guys. How to replace the radio in the Mark III Supra, as well as the backup light sensor. I am gonna put something on those wires I showed you that are in the engine bay. I'm just gonna put tape on them for now. I think at some point, I do plan to do an engine swap on this car, and when I do that, I'll have a lot more space to work with, and just be a lot easier to do it well. And so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be like doing a good repair on it, as much as I complained about how they repaired it. I'm not gonna do a good repair on it right now. I'm just gonna kind of do good enough to get by, and then um, I'll do it better later. So yeah, hopefully you found all this interesting. I'll tell you, so a lot of the videos I've been posting have been kind of like, some of them have been Mark 3 Supra specific, but and like different repairs and things. But they've been kind of like, you know, fine. You know, like that you can find similar stuff from other people, basically. Is what I'm saying. I've got a video coming up that I haven't seen anybody do anything like this. It's going to be repairing the lock cylinders in this car. I think that's going to be like a couple, like a week or two down the road. Hopefully, it might be longer. It's been a while since I posted a video. Apologies. But so yeah, it might be a little further down the road, but that's coming, and I think that'll be really interesting. Partly because I don't know anyone else who's ever done that. I've never seen anyone else post a video about that, and so especially with this car. And so yeah, and yeah, I'm also I've got some videos I'm gonna post about tearing down the extra engine I've got. Um, I am, however, I'm not going to be finishing that project this summer. My plan was to rebuild the engine over sabbatical and then do the swap, but I'm actually not going to do that. I will do it eventually, but I'm not going to do it this summer. Um, yeah, I just had some financial tightness that came up recently, and so I had to put that off. But my new plan for the summer is to rebuild my suspension. So I've got a few things planned with that I think will be really good. I got some aftermarket parts coming that will I think be fun to use on the car. So they say do your suspension first, anyways. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So all right, thanks guys. Talk to you soon.